everyone, it is your girl GELBEAUTY 87 here, aka Grace Shaw, and today we're gonna get into another colorful versus muted. So if you're new to this series, every Friday in March I will be showing you a stack of palettes that I picked one palette that has the same color story as the other one. One's color story is more muted, if you will. Another one is more colorful, which is more my cup of tea. I know everybody didn't like colorful makeup, so I thought it'd be fun to show you like wearable versions of these colorful palettes to other palettes. So that's what we're doing here. I think we're on episode like 3 or 4 right now. I'm not sure. I know there's only 4 in the month of March, so I might start at the end of like, what do you call it, February, to give like the viewers choice as far to which one you want to see, and then I'll just be doing some randomly throughout the year. But without further ado, let's get into this episode's palette. So the first colorful versus muted is the Blend Bunny Laura palette against the Lunar Beauty Siren Sunset palette. Now I know y'all like, that's colorful. Yeah, that's colorful for Annie. That's not necessarily colorful for me. So I figured it was important to show both and show you how similar both color stories are. So I thought that part would be interesting as well. So here is Manny's versus Blend Bunny's. Now, as you see, they do both have some of the similar colors in them. However, the majority of the color is still in the Blend Bunny palette, which is why I said it's the more colorful choice of the two palettes. Because as you can see, you got mints in here, then you got pinks in here, then you got deeper blues, and then lighter turquoises, powdery blues, and all different tones. They still gave you this random small row of neutrals for people who need that sort of thing, or want to like ground the look a little bit, or just want to get more use out of this palette because it has neutrals in it. But as you can see, Manny has a good majority of neutrals, whereas this one has a good majority of colors. So that's why I said I feel like the Blend Bunny is the more colorful one and this is a more neutral one. Now y'all know I'm definitely gonna put these side by side just to test them out and see how they work out, but I thought it was important to show that, you know, like you can have a colorful palette and still have plenty of neutrals in it, or you can still like, you know, be full out blown color and have a small neutral section in it for people like me who might need a smoky eye every now and again and take a colorful palette with them somewhere, but don't always want to wear color. I mean, I always want to wear color, but that doesn't mean, you know, everyone else does. So that was another reason I brought along this series. Next, we have colorful versus muted. We got the Cosmic Brushes Winter Wonderland palette versus the Cinderella palette from Sigma. This was the first Disney collab palette that they came out with, from what I remember. And we all know Sigma does color, but they do like adult versions of color. So I felt like this would be a good example for this. So for example, the person who really likes these bam pow in your face blue purple colors would definitely like the Winter Wonderland palette a whole lot better. However, if you just like a subtle, more muted version of colorful shades, I feel like you would like the Sigma one better, because it's like it still has plenty of neutrals for you to use, but at the same time it has some of these same colors in here. They're just more muted versions, if you will. So I feel like it'd be interesting to possibly put these two side by side. We'll have to see, because it's like there's a lot of dual chromes and multi chromes in this one, whereas this one is pretty much just plain shimmers and matte. So I don't know that I'll necessarily do both of these, but again, I wanted to show them just as an idea. So let me put those to the side, because we're probably not going to do those. We're kidding. Probably not. The next one I feel like you might find interesting, and I found it kind of interesting, so I wanted to throw it in here as like a, you know, kind of like test y'all out and feel y'all and see how y'all feel about this. Next, we have colorful versus muted is the Jackie and ABH palette. Y'all know this is one of my beloved palettes. I actually have a backup of this palette. It is in pristine condition. I have never used because I liked it that much, against the Spooked palette from Gourmand Girls and Doodles by the Bunny. So I initially did not buy this one because I feel like it was awfully neutral compared to, you know, like some other palettes that I had. But then I thought about it and I looked at it. I was like, it seems like a more fun, colorful version of Jackie's palette from back in the day. So I felt like it'd be interesting to show them side by side and get you all's opinion on it. So here's what they look like side by side. I feel like it gives some of the tones that Jackie's palette gives, but it gives some fun ones too. Like I feel like the greens probably would throw people off from thinking this is similar, because their green is much brighter than Jackie's green. But I feel like they have a lot of similar tones in it. Like she has a red shimmer, there's a red matte. She just doesn't have a black, she has a dark brown. But I feel like it has a decent amount of similar tones. And I'm thinking about doing like little shorts on my YouTube that's like you know, what do you call it, color stories that would surprise you in similarities or something like that. Because I feel like this one is one that you definitely wouldn't think about, but now that I've shown it to you, you're like, I see it. Because it's like when I first looked at it, I was like, I don't know, because like I said, the green threw me off, but a lot of the shades in here look really similar, and I was like, I see it now, I see it. Okay, so this is one I definitely think I want to do, just because I feel like it'll be interesting. It'll be something that's unexpected. So I'm trying to debate if I'm gonna do an eye look or not, but I'm gonna do that shorts for sure. You probably will have seen it before you see this, just because I'm excited now and intrigued to do it. I'm gonna have to put the notes on my phone when I get done filming this video. But on to the next one. So the next Colorful versus Muted is Angie and Utenzi's Trick or Treat palette up against the Nomad Hudson Valley palette. Now originally I was going to put this palette up against the Xenon palette from Natasha Denona, but at the last minute I was like, it looks really similar to this one, and I feel like I've shown you all that dupe before, so I feel like it'd be interesting to put these two alongside each other, because as you can see, Angie's palette is definitely giving more color than the Nomad one. However, I feel like they're both giving a similar color story, but it's just the bright greens in Angie's palette along with the bright red and the bright orange. I feel like that makes it more of a brighter, colorful palette than this one. And since Angie made it, of course I would see it as more colorful than the Nomad one, just because Angie's like me and has a general love of color. However, I feel like she muted this down pretty good for people who don't necessarily like color, but for people who still do like color, if that makes sense. So I definitely feel like this is the more muted palette, just because, like I said, it has a lot of these ashier, cooler, muted tones, and the only exciting shades are on the warm tone side, whereas I feel like Angie's palette gives a good variety of those in the warmer and cooler toned areas of the palette, even though I feel like hers is more warmly based. But like I said, I feel like because of the green shimmers and the deeper tones, are still have a decent amount of bright color payoff to them. That's why I'm choosing it the way I'm choosing it. You can comment down below and tell me if you feel differently or not, but I'm trying to debate if I want to do these or not, just because I'm like, since both the color stories are really similar, I'm feeling like we'll get similar looks, and I think the only thing that's going to make the difference obviously is the shimmers. And since I've already done one before, you can comment down below and tell me if you think this would be an interesting one. Even though I have a whole video set up just to like ask you all's opinion and do like a wild card or viewer's choice version of this video to get your thoughts on it, and then whichever one you all pick, that'll be like the video for the next day. So I'll do a poll early on, and then I'll do the video the day before, and then whatever one you all pick, that's why I'm making sure I do it on Friday, so that way I can film it on Saturday and have it go up Saturday night the same day that you all pick. So it's something exciting and new I'm trying to try. I told you I'm trying to do new stuff this year. I'm really trying. The next two I have in the Colorful versus Muted is the Beaute Bar Bejeweled palette alongside the Sydney Grace X Temptalia. This one is Radiant Reflection, and I have the deep version of all of these, of course. Now the reason I say that the Temptalia one, even though this is the most colorful one of the set, isn't that colorful, is because I feel like a lot of the tones are like muted versions of the colors, which again, this is colorful versus muted, so obviously I feel like these are going to be more colorful. Plus they're like dual chromes and multi-chrome, so I definitely think they're going to give more impact on the eye once I put them on. Now it's going to be more smoky version of that, but I still feel like it's going to be a decent like smoky, you know, like radiant eye look, if you will, to the eye. So that's why I'm like, I feel like this was more muted, because look at that, like a lot of that is neutral, even though this is the most colorful palette of all of them. All those to me just give like really berry neutralist vibes, whereas I feel like the blues and the reds and the pinks and the purples in here aren't necessarily giving me that vibe. They're just giving me a jewel toned, like fun, colorful vibe. So I feel like this was her attempt at a jewel toned palette with like neutrals attached to it, just so it could ground the palette a little bit better. But y'all know me, I like a full-blown color one, so that's why this is the more muted one to me, and this is the more colorful, fun one. I get a nice jewel tone, cool, colorful, smoky eye with this. Okay, so the last one I have to talk about in this episode anyway, I have more episodes to come, of course, and this one kind of surprised me too. I want to put this one in that video I told y'all, I feel like, I'm sorry, that shorts I'm gonna do about palettes surprising me. And this is the, Colorful versus Muted palettes. This is the Paletopoly palette from Ace Beauty alongside the Twisted Tea Party from Ensley Reign. Now, when I first looked at this palette, I knew it reminded me of some of my collection, but for a good little while it took me before I realized that it was my Paletopoly palette. But I was in my drawers last night opening stuff and touching stuff, as I normally do, even though I should be in the bed sleep, because like I had to go to work today, and I was up to like, I'm telling y'all, probably like 4 in the morning just digging through palettes and helping my mom do other stuff in the house. But as you can see, the color story is actually quite similar. I feel like if I cover up the black and there were more neutrals in here, you would see what I'm talking about. And I feel like even showing it now, you kind of see what I'm talking about. Because see, look, it has the blues, it has the pinks, it has the purples, it has the weird grungy greenish yellow shades. So it has just about everything that's in this palette, except I feel like there's a little bit more like bright pink and bright yellow in here than it is in this. But this even has like a row of neutrals for the people who like neutrals to put with these colors. So I definitely felt like this was This is what made it neutral for me though, the fact that it has this whole row of neutrals, whereas as you can see, although it has this like muted-esque type color story, we all know that the dual chromes and the multi-chromes in the Ensley Reign palette are going to outshine the plain metallic in this palette. I hate to say it, but we both know that's going to be what it is. So even though this does have colorful mattes, it still has a row of neutrals in it, and then we all know that dual chromes and multi-chromes are going to outshine these shimmers, which is why I said this was the muted color story as opposed to this being the muted color story. Because although it does have some colorful mattes in it, I feel like since this has the bright pink and bright yellow, you expect me to pick this, but because we all know the multi-chromes are gonna do more in this one, I feel like this is definitely gonna be the one that's going to be more colorful. But we will try them both out and see how that goes. So those are all the palettes I had to talk to you about today in today's colorful versus muted. I know this is kind of a short one, but like I had thrown all this stuff in my bag last night and I was sleepy, so like I didn't necessarily plan it out as well, and I actually, as usual, being me, I ran off and left like 1 or 2 palettes at home. So I just broke it up into like extra like video to do, or I might just morph both of these together. We'll see. If you have me come on and go new eye look who this, new eye look who this, then you know what happened. But if I don't, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. Make sure you subscribe, comment down below and tell me if you agree or if you're liking the colorful versus muted series, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.